Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, today we're going to be talking about a person that I'm sure a lot of you know, but a lot of people don't really know much about. And that person, which is kind of like, sounds like an oxymoron, but we're going to be talking about Bomani Jones, right? I'm sure a good majority of you have heard who that is. He used to work at ESPN. At least that's what, I mean, he has a job at ESPN. At least that's where I saw him. And he always kind of gave these interesting takes. He has a very unique way of speaking. He has a unique voice or whatever it is. And, you know, that's pretty much what he's been known for, at least from when I started knowing him. But over the last few months, I'm not going to lie to you, I've been hearing various media outlets talking about Bomani Jones. And some people out there have been saying that, you know, he's not really as good as, you know, he deserves to be. Some people like he's in that position. He's gotten promotion that a lot of people don't understand why that's the case. Although recently I was listening to Stephen A. Smith basically saying that Bomani Jones is talented. But anyway, I want to just give you guys a quick background on who he is. Bomani Jones is an American sports journalist who is currently employed by ESPN. He was the co-host of Highly Questionable with Dan Le Batard before leaving the show in June of 2017 and developed his own show, High Noon. He also is a regular panelist on Around the Horn, where I saw him. Jones also hosts the podcast The Right Time with Bomani Jones for ESPN and his own podcast, The Evening Jones. He's also written for SB Nation, Salon, Page 2 at ESPN.com. And his sister is an award-winning novelist, Tayari Jones. I hope I got the name right. So that's Bomani Jones. Now, as you guys know, ESPN has been in the news over the last few weeks for a lot of their high-profile firings. If you guys remember carefully, they fired Jalen Rose, who's a very, very big name. That sent a shock through the system. They also fired Max Kellerman, who had been with the network for God knows how long. He was part of the ESPN First Take before he left there. I mean, after he left there, then he went on to go do his own show called This Just In. And he was on ESPN More Than Radio. He had a show with Keyshawn, Max Kellerman, and Jay Williams. They had a morning show, which ultimately they canceled, right? So they got rid of some very, very high-profile names. But initially, when those reports came out, we also heard that there were more names that are going to, the ESPN is planning to let go in the future. ESPN, a company which is owned by Disney, which is trying to restructure, especially this particular division of their business, which is ESPN. As you guys know, we've even produced various shows where we talked about how Disney's now seeking strategic partnerships. We also heard them potentially wanting to partner with some of the major leagues like the NFL, NBA, and MLB. So this afternoon, I was going through the internet, and I went to frontofficesports.com, and I came across an article which essentially said ESPN not expected to renew Bomani Jones' contract. And I said, wow, yet another notable name may be going out the door. But before we get into this article, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the T-Wolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let me just get into this article here. It starts off essentially by saying ESPN does not plan to renew the contract of journalist Bomani Jones. Front Office Sports has learned his current contract with ESPN expires at the end of this month, as the network separately laid off 20 on-air personalities amid broader cost-cutting moves from parent company Disney. Last fall, Jones signed a contract extension with ESPN to host his 3 times per week podcast, The Right Time with Bomani Jones. His show is the second highest rated podcast among ESPN's 35 plus shows, but the network has not shown interest in renewing his contract. Jones spoke to FOS in New York before he made a speech at the Writers Guild of Americans Sports Solidarity Day held on the picket line outside the CBS Broadcast Center. The economic fate of people in sports media is getting dicier and dicier by the day, Jones told FOS. I think the ESPN layoffs were the beginning of it in a lot of ways. Seeing what happened with New York Times shutting down their sports department, and they moved these people to other desks, but at some point they're probably going to deem those to be surplus, and they're not going to be there anymore. Jones started writing for ESPN in 2004 and notably a co-host for ESPN TV shows Highly Questionable with Dan Le Batard, High Noon with Pablo Torre. He's also a panelist on Around the Horn and appeared on shows such as SportsCenter, First Take, and Outside the Lines. His HBO late night sports talk show Game Theory with Bomani Jones premiered in 2022 but was canceled after 2 seasons. And basically the article then goes on to say a few other things. Streaming can only come profitable if there are fewer players in the game. We just have so much stuff, Jones said. There is money being made on streaming, and there's a lot of money being spent on streaming that doesn't necessarily generate the returns that one would expect. Notable on-air personalities let go last month by ESPN include Jeff Van Gundy, Jalen Rose, Max Kellerman, Susie Colbert, Keyshawn Johnson, Todd McShay, and others. FOS reported that ESPN is not expected to renew the contract of NBA analyst Vince Carter. Disney is open to selling a stake in ESPN to a strategic partner with the NFL, MLB, and NBA discussed as potential suitors. And basically, the article then finished off saying, the idea of selling stakes to the leagues, I don't even understand it, Jones said. Logically, I don't know why there's a winner for the leagues. Why that's a winner for the leagues. The leagues can't be the only people who'll be willing to buy such a stake. I don't understand how that works. And then he went on to say a few other things there. So yet again, another high profile, in this case, not a firing, but they're going to be letting him go, right? They're most likely not going to renew his contract. And to me, this once again proves that the sports media landscape is quickly changing. I think those days of building your resume to go work in one of these companies, I think those days are slowly fading. I think now these companies are going to be recruiting talent that already have their things going. I was listening to Anton Daniels, and he made a good point about the music industry, where he essentially said, listen, these music companies now, these record companies, record labels, they're no longer interested in building up a talent and then building a movement behind them. They're no longer interested in that. They're looking at people that have already generated a buzz for themselves, and then they're looking for how their machine can now help propel what they've already created to the next level. But if you think that, okay, I'm going to go to school, get all of this learning, blah, 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 and then I'm going to come to ESPN, and then no. Now they're looking for, in a way, a sure thing. So I think the sports media space is still evolving. I think a lot of these things that we're seeing is still new. I think the thing is still in flux, and there's going to be a lot more movement going on in the future. And I, for sure, I'm going to be one of the people. Dreamerspro is going to be one of the platforms that's going to be following this thing very, very closely, and we're going to be bringing you guys up-to-date information as it comes out. So these are my thoughts on this. What I want to know from you guys is, number one, do you think it was right for ESPN to let Bomani Jones' contract expired? Do you think they should have extended him? And how do you see this thing playing out going into the future? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments, and we catch you guys on the next show. Peace.